Okay, you guys, do you have plans this fall? Guess what? We have plans for you. September the 13th, fall in Nashville is amazing, and we would love, if you live out of state, for you to come be with us and experience the beauty of Tennessee and a whole day of learning. We're hosting a conference called Raising Capable Kids. Jump on our website, check out the show notes for a link, and we'd love to see you there.
Welcome to the Raising Boys and Girls podcast.
I'm Sissy Goff.
And I'm David Thomas, and we're so glad you've joined us for this conversation. Let's dive in.
Ginny Owens has spent the past 2 decades sharing her heart with listeners and readers as a singer-songwriter, author, teacher, and advocate. Her unique musical style and inspirational lyrics have transcended gender definition and taken her to diverse venues that include the White House, the Sundance Film Festival, Lilith Fair, and the National Day of Prayer in Washington, D.C. As a toddler, Ginny picked out melodies on the piano before she was able to put words together in a sentence. Even as vision left her eyes, a degenerative eye condition left Ginny completely blind by age 3. Songs began to emerge from her fingertips, providing a window into the world she could not see. Not all Ginny's words are set to music. Her first solo authored book, Singing in the Dark, Finding Hope in the Songs of Scripture, shares her personal story as well as stories from Scripture, taking readers on a journey to find hope amidst their own challenges. Born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi, she moved to Nashville, Tennessee to attend Belmont University and made her home in Music City for many years. She now lives in New York City and is on staff with Redeemer, and you will love hearing us talk about the work she's currently doing there. Prepare to take notes as our dear friend Ginny reminds us what it looks like to build resilience into kids from the earliest years. Ginny, I have been a fan of your music for so long and been a fan of you as a person since the first time I encountered you. And I maybe think the first time I encountered you was at a show through our dear friend, Cindy Morgan, who has been on our podcast twice, I think, now.
Yes.
Oh, how fun.
And then we've gotten to have some meals together.
Yes,
and
some church services together. Yes, so fun.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, I even was listening to some of your music this week. And when you got on and started talking, just when we were being silly before it started, I thought, I forgot how hilarious you are. I did not prep David for that. And I mean, talented.
Gotta have
in
a
so many
sense of
places.
humor about life, right?
That's true. That's a great point. But we are so grateful that you would join us today from New York, which we're going to talk about how you ended up there. But it's just such a privilege to have time with you, friend.
Oh, thank you. It's so good to see you again, my friend. It's been too long.
Too long.
Yes.
And I mentioned that I was right on the edge of throwing a fit because I've been hearing about you for so long from multiple sources. Folks keep saying you are going to enjoy meeting her. And I thought, when is it going to happen? So
Oh, man.
this feels long overdue, and agree. Jenny is incredibly generous of you to
Well,
say
it's an
yes to this
honor
invitation.
to get
We've
to hang
been
out
so
with you.
excited. And your resume, my goodness.
No kidding.
Yeah, like,
it was so fun to do research on you.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Singer, songwriter, author, now director of worship arts and community engagement specialist at Redeemer in New York. So many good things that you are doing. But before we even get to all that, Jenny, will you start out by sharing a little bit about your story and just how you found your way to all this good work?
Sure. You know, if there's one thing that I could tell you and your listeners about myself, it's that I am living proof that God can bring hope into any story, absolutely any story. And so my story began in Jackson, Mississippi, quite a long time ago now. It keeps getting longer, but praise the Lord. That's where I was born and raised. And I was born with a degenerative eye condition at age 3. I had a surgery that was supposed to stabilize my vision and instead took it all away. But around the same time, I fell in love with music. I loved singing, and we had an old out-of-tune upright piano that lived in the corner of our dining room, so I loved that too. And also, I found Jesus about that same time, or since I'm a good Presbyterian, I'd say he found me at Vacation Bible School, and I asked him into my heart at age 4. So just a little while after that. And honestly, I learned pretty quickly that life was going to be full of challenges, partially because of my blindness, but mostly because of others' reaction to blindness. But God has always been so faithful. He gave me friends. He's given me ways to connect to other people, like through music and speaking and sharing my heart and life with them and with others, and hearing their hearts and lives as well. And so I think what's been such a blessing over the years is to just get to wear several delightful hats as singer-songwriter and as an author, and getting to teach the Bible now, and then also just getting to serve in my local church now. It's pretty exciting, and it's just so cool to see how God is just so good and so creative, and I think he has a tremendous sense of adventure, and I'm so thankful for that.
He does have that.
Yes.
Well, okay. Can we go back to you as a little 3-year-old? And Ginny, I can't even imagine, or I can't even put words to the courage and the resilience and the bravery and all of those things when I picture you at that age navigating the world. And this being a parenting podcast, we would love to know if there are some things your parents did that helped you. I mean, in some ways, you had to learn resilience, but I would imagine there are some things maybe that they did or gave you the opportunity to do that grew that in you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They always kind of exuded a confidence that I could do whatever I put my mind to. I'm not sure they always felt that, but I always felt that from them. And so I will vividly remember that after I lost my sight, as a young kid, you just adjust, right? So I went back outside to ride my bike and climb trees and do all the things with the neighbor kids. And, our poor neighbors, our adult neighbors, were just panic stricken. One of them offered to call the fire department to help me get out of the tree. My mom was like, you know what? This is her life. She's got to learn to live it. So there was certainly sort of an invitation and almost a challenge to go out and be independent and figure it out. Get some scrapes, get some bruises, and, just like all the other kids did. And so because she allowed me to be in spaces with other kids and didn't make me feel differently, I didn't realize for a long time that I was different. And then I think as time went on and I began to realize that, being blind came with all kinds of complicated social issues, especially for others. I remember a time in middle school that was just very difficult and dark. And, kids find the person that seems weaker to them that they can bully. And so I experienced my fair share of that. And I remember my mom, I wouldn't really open up too much to her about it just because I was in middle school and that didn't seem like such a cool thing to do. But I do remember one day she just said, Jenny, Jesus will always be your best friend, but there are going to be some days when he's your only friend. And you can always trust him and you can always tell him everything because he has walked through the worst darkness and he did it for you. So, as a middle schooler, I was like, whatever, I just want friends. But clearly, all these years later, that has stuck with me. So, she just sort of approached raising me with at least an external confidence, even if she didn't always feel that, and just kind of always moving me on, calling me on to the next thing, to take the next step, which is, what God does with each of us. So it was I'm very grateful for that. Absolutely. And she also was really great about just not pulling any punches and letting me know how the world worked. So she, taught me to iron my clothes, which I don't do now so much, but she taught me to sort of take care of clothes and makeup and things like that, in late elementary, early middle school, because she said, if other people come to school in wrinkled clothes, it will be just because they felt like it. But if you do it, it will be because you're blind and people will think you can't do better. So, and that's right. That's how the world thinks. Unfortunately, I mean, it's unfair, but it's how it goes. So she was wonderful about just teaching me how things really were. And truly, I think if you have a child with any kind of disability or just a struggle of any sort, which all children do, I think being honest and kind at the same time is helpful, because they will have to go out and face the real world at some point, and so it's better to know how the real world is.
Can I add a question?
Sure.
I would love for you to speak to. I mean, I felt rage inside me, honestly, when you were talking about those other kids. That makes me crazy that they treated you that way. And I love your mom's words, and it's true for all of us, of Jesus will be your best friend and he will at times be your only friend. But thinking about those parents of those other kids that were treating you like that, other kids in your class, what do you wish those parents had said to their kids?
Yeah, that's such a great question. Well, here's the ironic thing. I ended up being friends with a lot of the parents. I mean, the parents were, I don't know, maybe just I knew how to relate to adults at a young age, but also their parents were in general, very friendly to me. So I think the kids, more than being afraid of me, were just, they found somebody to pick on. And so they did that. So I think if I had been, I think I would ask more questions of kids. I think I would ask, well, what'd you do today? How do you relate to Ginny? Are you kind to her? What are some of the things that happen when you are together? I think maybe I would ask about the folks in the class that you as a parent could see being the children who are bullied, and find out how your child is treating them.
I love that. Thank you. That's super helpful.
Ginny, in your bio, you share that while some folks might say that your blindness would be your biggest struggle, it certainly isn't true. We're living in an age where kids seem to be defining themselves by whatever struggle they might be facing. What helped you learn to define yourself by something different?
Such a good question. Well, as I mentioned early on, I became a Christian, and I learned that I was deeply loved by God, that I was created for a purpose, that I was invited into his greater story. And I think just hearing that over and over again gave me sort of a greater identity to lean into, even when things were hard. And certainly I have forgotten frequently about that truth, but I do know it's true. And so I think it's one of those things I keep coming back to. I think the only way not to be defined by our struggles is to remind ourselves again and again of what is true and the hope that we do have. One of my favorite quotes is from Elizabeth Elliot, and she said, "The secret is Christ in me, not me in a different set of circumstances." But there's just something about, what is the biggest, what's the loudest voice in your mind? What matters the most to you? And so over the years, I've learned that I have to keep coming back and reminding myself of my identity. And I think growing up, community helped with that. I definitely had wonderful family around me and good friends. Not a ton of close friends, but who does have that? But I had several very special friends, and they reminded me of not only God's love, but they loved me well, and we played together and enjoyed time together. And so I think there was something about just having that special community that helped me to continue to want to think bigger than my circumstances. And also, I think music has helped me personally to kind of express the hard things, get them out without being defined by them. So I think when kids have a hobby like music or something that they love to do that's creative, it can be a way of expressing, being honest. It is your outlet for all the things in your heart. So you don't have to hold on to those so much.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that would be the answer.
Yes.
I could probably say a lot more about that, but I do think for all of us kids or adults, just we have to keep coming back to our source of hope. Otherwise it will get crowded out.
Well, we'd love to talk a little bit more about music and would love to know if you have, that's probably so hard to say. Do you have a favorite song of yours and why? And I'm going to say mine.
Oh, good.
Mine is If You Want Me To. I know that's so classic, but it's
incredible.
You've done 2 versions, right? There's a live version where you sing a different end verse.
Yeah, well, there actually are 3 versions now.
Really?
There's a newer version, yes, which is the same lyrics, but just a newer arrangement. Yeah, so the original was written with the 4 verses, but when we recorded it for the album, my producer at the time was like, "Oh, it's too long. We don't need all those verses." So we cut one, and then, but that's why the live version has them all. And I always sing all the verses. So
I love that. I mean, I love all of your lyrics. You just are one of my very favorite singers and songwriters. I mean, the honesty and the depth and the heart and the hope blow me away every time. But
you're so kind. I'm going to call you when I need encouragement, which is daily.
Please.
So
are you
get ready
any day, anytime? So that's my favorite. But will you jump in about, do you have one or is that impossible to say?
It is impossible to say. However, If You Want Me To would probably be my favorite as well, just because I've probably been singing it. It's definitely one of the songs I've been singing the longest. And, because it's about surrender, especially in the midst of the unknown, I feel like every night that I sing it, there's a new story in my own life that it relates to. So when I first wrote it, it was about not finding a job as a teacher and just really wrestling with God about what he was doing and finally just learning to rest in the fact that all I need to know is the next step. I don't need to know the future, and I'm not going to know the future. So that was what it was originally about. And yet every evening at a concert or any opportunity I have to sing it, it always means something else and something new. There's always some new part of my life that I need to surrender. And so God speaks to me through it all the time.
Which is exactly what it does for any of us too.
Yeah.
I love that. We'll link to that song and a lot of the other things in the show notes, but
cool.
I love that. Thank you.
Jenny, and continuing to think about your music and just thinking about all the different places your music has taken you and opportunities that have come your way. Is there one particular kind of how in the world did I get here type moment you've had in your career?
Oh my goodness. There are so many. I really am the Forrest Gump of Christian music. I'm quite sure. I'm always like, how did this happen? I mean, I think even ending up at a church in New York City where I'm leading worship, me and my little singer-songwriter self, I'm like, how did this happen?
It makes me want to come visit your church.
Yes,
Come on, girl.
Next time we're in New York. Time we're in New York, we need to see you anyway.
You do. Yeah. Okay, we're making that happen.
Okay.
It's easy to do. I'm right in the heart of the city. So, so one of my favorite times, I think we had been doing a group of shows and somehow I had not been prepped for the show that was coming. And we went to LA to the Pacific Palisades and we showed up at this film TV director's house for his birthday party. I didn't know that was what I was playing for, but he had put several of my songs in various shows that he had directed. So I show up and there are all these celebrities And I'm like, what am I doing here? So that was one, just because it was so unexpected. And I really was at a loss. I would have prepared. So actually, ever since then, I make absolute sure that I know where I'm going and what I'm supposed to do when I get there. So, but it was incredible. But I don't believe that most of them believed as I do. And so just being able to share some of my heart and story was incredible. It was a lovely evening. So that's one of my favorites. Another favorite was when I got to sing at the White House. And there's just something about being on the South Lawn of the White House singing. Yes. Again, I was like, how did I get here? I am a little girl from Mississippi. So I love that God opens doors that we never even dreamed of knocking on, and I also just I feel like these are reminders that I'm actually not in control of my whole story. There are other elements that I just don't even know are coming. And it is that way for all of us. So those are a couple of my favorites, but we could do our whole podcast episode on all of those.
So good.
So fun to hear. Well, and you moved to New York. What year did you move?
2018.
2018. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, lived a lot of your life in Nashville and then made the jump, which is just, that takes so much courage. I cannot imagine relocating my life.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's courageous and heroic is what it is. And that you moved there, attended seminary, and then stepped into a new calling on staff with Redeemer, as we talked about. And Cindy, over dinner last week, told me that you were one of Tim Keller's last students.
I was.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. Everything wonderful about him that you've ever heard is true. So it was truly a blessing. But I
talk about that whole thing, seminary and being on a church staff and studying under him. We'd love to hear about that.
Oh man,
part of your story too.
Well, it's so fun, and I do still get back to Nashville, so I do get my Nashville fix usually about every 6 weeks, which is good.
Good.
But in 2014 and 2015, I was on the road. And a new album had just come out called I Knew a Secret. And I was doing a series of concerts and meeting people after and just hearing a lot of deep, difficult sorrows and questions. And I just remember feeling like, okay, I love getting to sing to people, but I actually want to help them find answers to these questions. It was almost like they were showing up at concerts to be entertained and get a little Jesus. And I was like, I need to be saying more. We need to be, I want to take them to scripture and talk more about what we do next. How do we deal with our hard things? How do we find hope? What does God say to us? And so, couple that with the fact that I've always loved New York City. In 2018, I began to think about going there to study under Tim Keller and others at Reformed Seminary in New York. And it was one of those rare moments. I feel like I've only had a couple of them where I just knew the Lord was calling me out of my comfort and into the great unknown. All the things fell into place. I had a place to live, which is sort of unheard of in the city, to find a place to live before you get there. And I got into seminary. So I was able to take several classes during that time from Dr. Keller, and even took some classes in his City to City program after I graduated from seminary. And so I did lead a 15-minute Bible study in front of Tim. And that was probably the most terrifying thing that I've ever done in my life.
Indeed.
Much more terrifying than moving to New York. But, and that was the end of February. And then May 19th was when he passed away that same year. So, but I have very sweet memories of just time learning from him. And of course, just the way that he shows the gospel and how it applies to just every inch of life continues to just influence the way that I think about all kinds of things. So During that time, and I guess during the pandemic, I began working on staff and helping out first with women's ministry and then with worship. In fact, during the pandemic, I helped out a good amount with worship. And then that just kind of continued to grow. And here we are several years later. So I do still get to go on the road some, but I also get to be rooted in a community, which it's really for the first time in my adult life. So that's been super special to get to be here. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind, and New York is a lot. You have to kind of get ready when you go out in the morning, just mentally ready to take in all the things that are going to happen. So
yes,
but it's again back to God's incredible sense of adventure. I'm so thankful for it.
Well, we are equally excited, in addition to talking about your music, to also talk about your book, Singing in the Dark, and want to encourage folks strongly to get a copy of that. And will you talk about what inspired the book and what you hope folks will gain from it?
Sure. So Singing in the Dark is really, it's my attempt to show how God speaks to us, especially in our suffering, and how he speaks to us specifically through his word. A question that I kept thinking about as I was writing is just, I hear so many people say, is scripture relevant? Like, does it matter? Is there anything that I can learn from it? And I always, especially when I was going to seminary and learning so much more, which is when I wrote this book. So probably has a little too much seminary in it, but that's okay. Got to start there. But it's basically my personal story woven with 10 songs from scripture that I love. And it shows kind of how my story and where I've had longings and laments and sufferings, and how we all have, those stories really aren't that different from the stories of those who lived several thousand years ago. And neither are the paths that God gives us to find hope in the midst of those stories. So I really kind of try to make that argument through story and Singing in the Dark.
I can't wait to read it. And you have an album that, as you mentioned, that comes with it, or not comes with it, but you've got a companion album. Is that what you call it? I don't even know what the
sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call it that. So, called Sing Hope in the Darkness. And I didn't realize that is considered your first worship album, because all of your albums have been so worshipful to me.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, it's the first time that I had others kind of singing with me, like a worship group, like a worship team. It was a lot of fun. So
do you have a favorite song from that project?
I do. I wrote a song with a couple of good friends of mine called Greater Still to Come. And it's really just about, actually it's called Greater Still, but details. But it's really just about thinking about how the bigger our view of the next life is, the more hope we have in this life, and the more joy we have, and the more that we can, really give to others. The bigger my view of who God is and what he's going to do, the more it's easy for me to look outward instead of gazing at my own problems. So that's probably my favorite song. And I love to sing that when we're on the road, and get folks to sing it along with me, and they seem to enjoy that as well.
I can't wait to listen.
Same.
Yeah, cool.
Well, your episode is part of our Music City series.
Love it.
Which we host in the summers, and would love to ask you, is there a band or artist, song or record that you would say helped shape you growing up?
Oh, so many. We could do another episode just on my favorite artists from growing up, but I would say two genres. One was singer-songwriter. And so I lived and ate and slept and breathed Amy Grant when I was a young child, and which I've told her frequently. She's like, "Oh my gosh," reminding me how old I am. So, but I loved all things Amy Grant and learned so much about songwriting from listening to her. But I also, growing up in Jackson, Mississippi, was very much immersed in gospel and R&B. So I loved the Winans and Stevie Wonder and Whitney Houston and Earth, Wind and Fire and all the things. So I think my combo of influences kind of converged in this singer-songwriter R&B gospel thing that I love to do even now. But yes, there are so many wonderful artists that even continue to shape me now. I love to hear new singer-songwriters, and music still is just as inspiring as ever. So it's my favorite. Who are some of you guys' favorite singer-songwriters? I'd love to know. I might need to start listening.
It was so fun to hear you say that, as you were saying Amy Grant and then the R&B gospel, because it does. I mean, that is exactly where you have landed, is in between and bringing in elements of both. So that's so fun.
Thanks.
And we equal parts loved Amy growing up too. And we had this full circle experience that Daystar celebrated our 40th birthday a couple of weeks ago, and Amy came and sang at our birthday party, and it just, it was the sweetest moment. Yeah.
That's so amazing.
And I grew up, in Little Rock, Arkansas, so I have a big R&B influence in my life too. It doesn't come out anywhere but in my car when I'm listening to 80s R&B, but it is certainly there. Luther Vandross was a staple for me.
Girl. Yes,
Jeffrey
ma'am.
Osborne, all those people.
Oh, yes. That's so fun. I had a birthday party a few weeks ago, and I made my friends play Name That Tune. And it was so fun to just go through the decades of my life and my favorite songs and see how many of them they knew. But they knew quite a few of them. And it was so fun to just sing through, past years of music together at the top of our lungs. So,
I wish I could have been at that birthday party. That sounds so fun.
It was so fun. I mean, I kind of want to have singing parties now. Like, forget birthdays. Let's just all get together and pull up songs that we remember from our childhood and sing them together. It's like group karaoke or something. It was so great.
That is a blast. And I hate to say, but the rest of the world can't do that. So we just need to be invited to yours.
Yes, you can. Everybody can sing, sort of, right?
I'm so sad for this to be coming to an end. Ginny, you're so delightful. For anybody who doesn't know, which hopefully there's no one listening that isn't following you already, but for the one person out there who's listening who doesn't, will you say where they can find all these amazing things, where they can follow along?
Absolutely. GinnyOwens.com is my website, and I'd say sign up for my email list, because that's where it's probably the most personal. I'm not a big social media person. We do social media, but I do the email list. So that is a fun spot, as well as Instagram is Ginny Owens Official, and YouTube and Facebook are Ginny Owens Music. And so, you can find me all those places, and also Spotify and Apple Music and wherever you like to get your music.
Great.
Okay, that's awesome. And it's GINNY. We do need to.
Oh, yes. Great point. Thank you.
Well, Jenny, we end every episode with something fun and food related.
Oh, I love it.
Good. We move from the substantive to the silly, and we've got a 2-part question for you.
Okay.
And that is queso or guac, and what's your favorite taco?
Oh my gosh. Definitely guac. I eat avocados every day, and I'm allergic to cheese, so queso's out. I love it because I'm a 9 on the Enneagram, so I'm always like, I can't make a decision, but I can make a decision about that. So thank you.
That's great.
Let's see. And then the other question was
favorite taco.
Favorite taco. Ooh, anything from Lady Bird is going to be my favorite.
Always.
I love the Lady Bird breakfast tacos.
Yes.
Those are so
yes.
good. Oh my gosh. So that's what I'm going to go with. New York, I don't know. Tacos here, it's not really the jam. It's not really the thing that happens in New York. Pizza, yes, and so much great Mediterranean food, but I haven't found New York tacos yet. So if anyone knows where those are, drop me a line and let me know.
I can tell you a favorite place.
Okay.
ABC Cocina.
Oh, I have not been there.
You need to check it out. There's ABC Kitchen too, which is fabulous as well. But ABC Cocina, I think
it's phenomenal.
My favorite New York.
Oh yeah, I know about ABC Kitchen, and there's ABC. There's a vegetarian ABCB. I think is the.
Oh wow!
Vegan.
I didn't know
it's super great.
Okay.
Yes. So they also have cocina. Okay. I'm
Mhm.
going to find it.
You'll have to find it.
Yay.
And then on your next trip to Nashville, we're going to get you back to those Ladybird breakfast tacos if you'd allow us.
I'm so ready. Yep. I'm coming in a couple weeks, so I'm going to have to do it.
Ginny,
Yay.
thank you. That did not surprise me a bit when you said you're an Enneagram 9. I love 9s. They're
Me
some of my
too.
favorite people on the planet to be with. And you really are so kind. And the hope that you profess feels like it exudes out of you. So thank you for inviting us into that.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the wonderful time and the wonderful questions.
David, what a team we have that we get to call friends who help make this podcast possible. Chris Starrett, our engineer.
Our management team at KCH.
And we are thrilled to be a part of the That Sounds Fun network.
Our music was created by the insanely talented Dave Haywood of Lady A.
And if this podcast felt helpful to you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, all the things.
We are grateful for you and cheering you on always.